welcome, ladies and gentlemen, inside a Wednesday edition of the Ysn Power Hour. Scotty Mincher will join us here shortly, but until then, it's me. It's DJ Yoakley, Max Solo right there. We've got Ty Bartell right here, and Paul Munson right there. Ladies and gentlemen, it is National Umbrella Day. So a little bit of a twist on this as we typically do on national days that sound really, really boring. Everybody knows that when you open up an umbrella, inside it is what?
Metal.
Bad luck.
Bad luck. So my question to you is your superstition that you use or you know, while you played sports, or maybe one that you use today that is as bad, if not worse, than opening up an umbrella inside. If you believe in superstition. I do. I am a very superstitious human being, and I know from being a baseball player, I know there's a few more of those gentlemen here on this broadcast. Billy, superstitions that creep you out the most, ones that you believe in the most.
I've always hated the baseball version of "don't touch the line." So that was a weird one to me. I didn't really believe in that one, but I have a couple of my own that I do things in a rhythm on game day. Even as a coach, I'll drive the same way. I'll get the same drink on the way to the ballpark. I'll take the same turn. I'll get in the same, like all kinds of travel things that I'll do. I won't ride a bus on certain days. Things like that. Nothing too creepy. But there's plenty of them out there. Especially for baseball, there's just so many guys wearing the same socks, even though they haven't washed them. And there's some weird ones. Yeah.
In there. Ty, how about you? What's your superstition?
For me, when I was playing baseball, and I blame my dad for this, getting me to believe this more, but it was always don't step on the foul line. You don't step on the foul line ever when you're going out or leaving the field. And I always believed that. I would always do a little hop step over it if I needed to, if I was running full force from it. But yeah, don't step on the foul line.
Paul, how about you?
Game day, regular season game day stuff. I didn't really have anything too much. As a coach and stuff right now, when the playoffs come, then there was, my wife will attest, when we made the run in 18, I never washed my uniform or my socks. So
I remember that.
It seemed to work well. I did the same thing when I played softball. If we were winning, I never wash the jersey. And when we got into the playoffs one time, I had a straw. Every game I chewed on the straw, and then we started winning. So I kept that straw and I chewed on the same straw, and we won the championship. So, my wife thinks it's stupid. Some people think it's dumb. She thinks it was gross because my stuff was just reeking. I'd keep it in the garage.
But you coached. It wasn't like you were out there running, pinch running or getting dirty or anything. You were coaching in it.
Yeah. I think the worst one was 2 years ago when it was just it was the year after we had won. I coached up here because it was chilly. I had a hoodie, and I wore this hoodie, and we won every single game up here. So then when we went down south, I wore the hoodie down south, and freaking 75-degree weather, I wore it until we lost. And when we lost, I took it off and said, okay, now we can keep going. But yeah, it's just stuff like that. And because if you have those kind of superstitions when you were a player and stuff, it doesn't matter that you're a coach anymore, because you still have it, because you think, well, if I do something different than what I've done in the past, then maybe things are going to go wrong. And if it does, then you blame yourself. Even though all you're doing is filling out a lineup card and telling the kid to steal second, it don't matter.
Yeah,
you don't tell him to steal third?
Yellow.
What?
Okay. You don't tell him to steal third, just second?
Listen, if nobody's holding you on and you got a good jump, go for it.
That a boy, Coach. Mac, what's up?
Pletch would yell at me all the time because he's super into superstitions, and I am not that superstitious for the most part, and I would say things, do things, and it would piss him off to no end, because he'd be like, are you serious? Go sit down. And he was dead serious. There's joking Pletch, and then there's serious Pletch, and you coach with him long enough, you figure out where, but sometimes you just do it out of spite, just to kind of say, you know what, I feel like messing with Pletch today. And you'd be like, hey, Amo, watch this.
Stupid. No. Gross. Yes. His socks walk themselves into the hamper. Nice play. Scotty, are you superstitious? What's your favorite, or I guess most feared superstition?
Feared, I guess when it comes to like my most feared superstition is like the rally cap and turning it a certain way. Like that's one I don't like. I'm fearful of, and I have to have my hat like a certain way, and a lot of times I don't like moving it around too much, or I'll move it a million times depending on how I'm feeling because I'm like OCD. But other superstitions that I really have gotten into over the years are if I'm watching a game and my team, the team I'm rooting for, is losing, sometimes I'll mute the TV, and if they start doing well, I have to leave the whole game on mute. Or sometimes I'll shut the game off, listen to the radio, and if they start doing better on the radio, I have to leave it on the radio. So those are just a couple. But I'm a pretty superstitious guy, too.
Those are big ones. Coach Seidel with a Michael Scott quote. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. Mine, I was always a guy that, I mean, as a catcher, it's tough to not touch the lines or the boxes before the game because you're doing throwdowns and things like that. Mine was always whoever we were playing. I would have my mom or dad or whoever was at the game give me that colored Gatorade, right? Because it's like you're drinking the blood of your opponent kind of deal. Like in my head, that's what it was. But since I turned that, I've turned it to whatever jersey we're wearing. Like when we were doing softball, like men's softball, we were the Patriots, red, white, and blue naturally, YSN colors.
We'll check.
And if we had blue uniforms, I'd have blue Gatorade. White uniform, white Gatorade. Red uniform, red Gatorade. Stuff like that. So that was my superstition, and it kind of all started, and then it just reversed as I got older. I'm a big, like when I'm watching gear or when I'm watching games, I got to wear the matching gear. That's why I've got a ton of jerseys regardless. But like watching the Buccaneers game, I had to have the white uniform because they had the white uniform on. Watching Steelers games, it's if they wear the black, I wear the black, and all that stuff. So I'm very superstitious just because I feel like it's my fault if the team loses or stuff like that. Yeah, see, she didn't even know she had it. She was buying the blood of the enemy. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. Although back in the day, there was no real purple Gatorade, so we always lost to Sebring, and it was always my fault because I didn't have the purple Gatorade for.
They didn't have a grape?
I don't think so. Paul, you're talking 2003, 2002? So, no, it was like orange, yellow, red, blue, white they still had. That just came out. One particular opposing coach used to eat a blade of grass from each corner of the field. We always thought that was odd. Yeah, that is a little weird.
Sounds odd.
Yeah, until they go to a turf field.
Good luck with that one. Gnawing on the plastic. So yeah, I think sport people are more superstitious just in general than others. So what's your superstitions? Put them in the chat. We appreciate it. Don't forget, we got some gear available. Billy showing off that sweet YSN beanie. Those are available $30 here at YSN. They are not available on our store. So make sure that if you want one, come down to HQ, check it out. You can get as many as you like. We just ordered 50 more, so holy crap, come on. You can get a palm on yours too, because Billy's dog chewed his palm off. Scotty's got one. Ty will have one. Muncie's got one. So yeah, get that. These are also available. One of my favorite shirts, YSN vs. the World, with the I don't know. Can you see the LFG on the back? LFG.
I want to get a shirt that says the Blue Coats stink.
Those might be coming. Let's see how tonight goes.
Reliable sources on the back.
Yeah, well, that's we've already got a shirt ready to pull the trigger on that one. But thanks to Fresh Prince in Youngstown for these YSN versus the World shirts. Make sure you visit his site, YSN versus FreshPrinceYoungstown.com. You can buy your own YSN versus the World shirt as well as the YSN NWO shirts. We got some Brick by Brick shirts, the Dirty Bird shirts, which still, if you purchase that, money goes towards scholarship fund. Billy Mack helped me out, the Ray Wells Scholarship Fund, and a lot more. So you got your choice to pick through. This cough is subsiding, and I can't wait for it to be gone. Didn't Les Miles do that too? What did Les Miles do? Eat the blade of grass. Is he anywhere right now?
Kansas.
That's a stellar program. All right, let's get to some sports here. Ty, without further ado, we're gonna give you the floor. You've been calling for this all season. We were joking before you got on here. You've been calling for this since the tip-off of the 2020 basketball season. Todd Simon breaks the all-time scoring record at Austintown Fitch last night. Before we get your analysis, I think, we got to do this.
Maybe.
Smith is there. Over to Simons. Simons with the shot and the record. That's the record-breaking shot. Todd Simons, one of the best scorers in the area, is now the all-time scorer in Falcons history. 1289 for Simons, the biggest shot of his life, and he is going to go down in Falcons history and lore for the rest of his life. His name will be there up on the walls, in the rafters. Simon says, "Spot me the record."
First off, what a call. My man down there has been waiting for it. He's had it all drawn up. He's ready to go. Ty, what was it like for you to have a call like that for a moment that should at least last for a very long time, if not forever?
Being a part of the Austintown community, it's kind of like what Coach Seidel is like with Sebring, and that's kind of it with me, right? Growing up in Austintown, graduating from Austintown, there's always going to be a special place in my heart for Austintown, Ohio, and I know how that community rallies around its school and its kids, and how close-knit that community can be. And just seeing how big that was, and you saw there's old timers in the stands, guys from a lot of the past teams, and we're talking way back when 60s, 70s teams that were sitting there in the stands rallying behind Simons. And I think I was more honored that we were able to have it covered and that I was able to be there. Everything kind of worked out so that all the people that weren't able to be there in attendance were able to witness that part of history, because it was history. You're talking 65 years. That record stood, and I mean, what a special talent and what a special thing is for Todd Simons. And you hope he does great things at West Virginia U, and you expect that he's going to do things, because I said it last night on the broadcast too. There's some special athletes, and we already know there's those percentages that go to college, and a percentage of a percentage make it all the way. And I said since the last time, Billy Price was the biggest name that came out of Austintown, and I think Todd Simons now is the next one that's going to come out of Austintown, where you really think that you watch this kid and what he does. Basketball's not even his first sport. He's got a scholarship for football, and what he was able to do with the basketball program there, you look at him and you think this kid's something special.
I mean, you talk about top athletes in the area, especially this year, and everything he's faced from the adversity of COVID and things of that nature. Ty, when you think about Todd Simons, what impresses you most about this young man?
It's his IQ. It's his IQ of games, no matter what he plays, either football or basketball. I mean, everyone talks about his scoring too, and I mean his scoring output. He's the all-time scorer now. But even Coach Beanie will tell you, even on the nights where he's not scoring well, he does so many things well on the court that you can't take him off. And you're talking a defender. a guy that can absolutely lock down the perimeter, lock down the paint, gets blocks left and right, a great rebounder that puts himself in position, and a very underrated passer. The way that this kid can pass on the floor, he reads the floor really well. He reads the cuts. It centers around him, both the offense and defense. And what Coach Beanie says, it's players that need to learn how to play with him, because he doesn't think about it too much. He just goes out there and plays the game of basketball. Same thing with football. He just goes out there and plays his position. Normally wide receiver is where he gets a lot of his starts at, but he just goes out there. He just gifted athletically. He's just able to go out there and play a sport, and everything else kind of just reacts around him.
Did you have it drawn up? Did you have the entire call drawn up, or is that straight from the heart?
That was straight from the heart, man. I don't believe it. Like I said, I don't overthink things. I don't like to overthink things. I don't like writing things down. I go with what I see, and just reactionary, because I feel it flows and it sounds natural then. So yeah, everything just comes natural.
Well, you had a big night on the network. A lot of people just commending you on a great call, as they should. Obviously, a little bit of technical difficulties if you were watching with that interview at the end. That stunk. That was rough.
Unfortunate. We're gonna have to. I'm planning one of the next games when we go. We're gonna try to get a makeup interview, or we're gonna schedule something with him to make up for that. I don't know what went on. So I heard our audio cut out or something.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, but we'll definitely try to make that up though.
Yeah, we're looking forward. Maybe another player profile with Todd would be good as well. So, all right, Mac, you had a big night as well. You saw a little bit of history over at Jackson Milton. What were your thoughts on that? Nope, you didn't. Apparently, I was wrong. No, who had that game? Anthony? What am I missing? I don't know. I know there was a 1,000-point scorer last night in Jackson Milton. Robinson was the guy who was able to get – Mason Robinson was the guy who was able to get 1,000 points. So another 1,000-point scorer in the area. And then you added – What's that?
So we're just stacking them up.
We are. And then we had another 1,000-point scorer over in Wellsville. Luke Green surpassed the 1,000-point mark for the Tigers last night. So it has been a big year. I mean, bigger than I've ever recalled for people surpassing the 1,000 points. And, we've had a ton of them. Like, literally, I can't keep up with these graphics. I still owe Austin Governor of Mineral Ridge a graphic because I can't find a picture of him. So once I do, first off, congratulations, Governor. But we will have a picture and a graphic of Austin Governor for that. I mean, we've talked about it before. The 1,000-point club, is it just the bar now for getting to the next level, getting the eyes on you? And then you have the all-time leading scorer club, which Todd Simons, Drake Golden, people of that nature, players of that nature are in now. Grisdale, yeah, exactly. Is the 1,000-point club, is that like the bar now for basketball players here in the area?
I think that's the ring to grab first. It's not easy by any means. I mean, because sometimes some of these kids are only the second or third, person to do it for their team. So I think that's a big one to go for. Obviously, the biggest one is to be the all-time leading scorer. But I mean, some of these schools, their all-time leading scorer is in the 2000s, and I mean that's just incredible if you can get to that. So I think the 1,000 is really the first ring to get, and it's still an incredible ring to get. Don't get me wrong. I think it's
when's the last 2,000-point scorer we saw?
For those type of, to get to that kind of
threshold, was Grisdale? Did she get 2,000 for her all-time leading scorer or no?
That's an Anthony question. I do not know that off the top of my head. I think that. Well, I know that Brazil got it right. Brazil was like way past it.
Yeah.
Who from Ursuline? Daishanette Harris.
I think she was close to it.
I mean, that's incredible. I mean, you have to play varsity at a high level from your freshman year on to get 2,000 points.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's why we're seeing so many 1,000-point scores right now, is because in the Valley, a lot of these guys are seniors, and they started playing as freshmen, sophomores early on. So
look at Will. We have a girl, senior girl hitter, just past 2,000. She hasn't even caught the school record yet.
I think to comment on what Coach Seidel just said too, I think it's just kids playing early. Because talking with Todd Simon, and what you didn't hear in that interview, and what I asked him was, when did this become a goal for you to try to break the all-time record? And he said, when I started getting some serious playing minutes my sophomore season, and he hit that 52-point game and tied Morrison, he was like, it was kind of like he was the trailblazer for allowing younger kids to start. And you see Fitch starting more freshmen and more sophomores, both boys and girls basketball. It comes down to starting earlier with these 1,000-point clubs, because I think prior to that, your bigger schools like your Fitches, you don't usually get starting minutes until your junior and senior years. So when you're starting your sophomore and freshman year, you get 2 more seasons to really just pile on and get closer to that 1,000-point threshold.
Sorry, go ahead, Paul.
I was saying, and think about this too. Like that record last night was for 61 years, you said, Ty?
65, yeah.
65 years. Think of a lot of these records that have been at schools prior to, I'd probably say, the mid to early 80s. There was no 3-point line. So they're scoring all these points as 2-pointers and free throws the entire time to set these benchmarks that these kids are now going after who have the 3-point line, that they can stack those up a little more. And I mean, that's what's impressive too, is to see these kids are doing it with the 3-point line, like the old school ones.
I'm gonna put it on a couple different things. Why to answer Coach's question is why are more people getting 1,000 points? Is coaches now, more 10, 15 years ago, we saw a whole lot of 32 to 29 scores in a high school basketball game for boys and girls. Now we're seeing so many teams press and they're running. Coaches are now having the offensive mentality instead of that, just stay in a 2-3 zone and hold the ball and keep the score down to a couple possession leads, where now you're seeing the fast breaks, you're creating chaos, you're scoring more points. So overall, you're getting more opportunities to score. I mean, we had girls the South Range game the other day. They were talking about somebody scored 90 points, or not South Range, but Heartland Christian scored 90 points. I mean, that's a lot of points in a game for a high school basketball game. So that's your opportunity. Teams are pressing. You're creating turnovers. You're getting more opportunities to score.
You got a good point there, though, Billy. But go on, DJ. I'm sorry.
I'm interested to see how much you can attribute AAU to this.
Yep.
As well as
they're getting
coaches.
better.
Yeah, and coaches having a better understanding of what's in their program from a very foundational standpoint. So you've got coaches that know, that are coaching varsity, that understand that they've got, 7 fifth graders coming up that are pretty talented, and they know what they have from a guard perspective, a forward perspective, how they are transitioning up and down the floor. The only thing you got to worry about is the floor is a little bit bigger. That's it. But I think the overall thing is AAU. I think AAU has changed the game. It's gotten kids up to par a little bit faster than before. You don't have to wait till they're juniors and seniors to play them anymore. Freshmen can match up against seniors no problem because of the talent that they possess. So I think AAU has been the biggest change maker in basketball, not only in the country, but here, right in our backyard. So I think that's it. Ty, you were going to say something?
I also think, too, I mean, I don't want to go that far as to saying there's better athletes, but there are nowadays. I think it's because there's also more of an understanding on diets, and there's more of a science behind working out, that I think coaches also understand a little bit more now. And yeah, maybe it's not to the level of professionalism, but I feel like the athletes of today are not the same as the athletes of your 1970s, your 1980s. And like Billy said, they're able to run the floor at a much more efficient rate. They're able to do much more acrobatic moves. I'm thinking now at a high school level in today's game. And like Billy said too, I mean, you don't see these 40-point games. I mean, when McDonald only scores 50, you're saying that's a low scoring game for them, because they're averaging 80 almost every other night, because they could run and gun it, and they're so athletic as a team. And I think athleticism, I don't want to say they're more athletic, but I think it's changed a little bit what we've seen from the 70s, the 80s up until now.
I mean, we talked about this before, but girls basketball has changed immensely in the last decade, if not the last 2 decades. It used to be just jump ball, jump ball, jump ball, jump, and now it's you're seeing 3 balls from the volleyball court line. It's amazing. It really is to see the progression of girl sports here. Scotty, what's your thoughts on this? Whoa!
Oh, shit.
He was awake too.
Yeah, I was awake, and you still got me there, DJ. That was good. I give you credit. That was a good one. But
I don't want the credit. I just want you to wake up.
Oh, I'm awake, man. So I know sometimes it doesn't seem that way, but I'm always, especially when I'm here, I'm awake. But I just think I have to echo what Ty said. I mean, I've gotten to watch more games here, more recently, watch the games that we've had here at YSN, and gotten to dig in part of the action. And I do, like, they've talked about it on professional levels, but even now, I went to Lowville High School, and we only had about 55 kids in my class. And Lowville, they struggled in sports. They were solid in baseball. A couple years, they were little below mediocre, weren't terrible in football. But I just think these athletes now, like they've said about sports for a while, they just seem to be bigger, faster, stronger, and more dynamic. You're not seeing as many one-trick ponies now. You're seeing kids that high schoolers that could do multiple things well and really stuff the stat sheet. So I think it just goes to not so much the X's and O's. I think it was a more X's and O's games in the past, in the 80s and 90s. And now kids are, I think it's more just pure athleticism. That's the biggest takeaway I've gotten from sports today.
What I would say too, I'm not trying to say like the 70s, 80s, and 90s kids didn't work hard, because I mean they did. I just think we have a deeper understanding on what needs to be worked on, and certain workouts and certain eating habits, and what works better. I think there's a deeper understanding now.
Let's not
and
forget
also specific training too.
Well, and above all of that, guys, is the technology that's come along, and you can see your team before you play them. It's the value of the tape, watching games on YSN, buying games from YSN, and scouting that team when you didn't have those resources before. Sometimes you're lucky to get one tape of a team per year. It's all interesting. I think it's all fantastic. Congratulations to all the scorers we've been covering all season. 1,000-pointers. You got record breakers. Congratulations to Todd Simon, a good friend of the family, and you know, I know how proud his dad is of him and all his accomplishments. So, congratulations, Todd. We're all proud of you here. Congratulations to Mason. Congratulations to Luke on a great night last night here on the network. Billy, you are weird. You're just a weird cat sometimes.
We can have another record tonight.
Paul, go ahead.
I said we could have another record tonight when Bowling goes to Struthers. You have Coach Blanche going for his 200th win. 200.
So that'll be good. That will be. Who's on the call on that?
It's at Struthers, so that'll be the school.
That'll be the school. So hopefully they acknowledge that. I'll make sure that Nancy knows about that.
They do. I talked to the director, and he said, great talking point. We appreciate the information. So
awesome.
I mean, now because since some things happen tomorrow, they don't have a game tomorrow, so now he's got to do it tonight.
Yeah, a little update. Poland and Hubbard will not play tomorrow night. So if you were looking forward to that game, unfortunately, it's just not going to happen. I don't know if they're going to make it up or
Billy.
No, because they canceled tonight's game too. So
well, that's going to be a perfect segue into our next conversation that we're going to have after the break. But conference championships
tournament.
it used to be something that really mattered. And now with everything, I keep hearing that they're pulling conference championships, that they won't award it to anybody. We're going to talk about that when we come back. How important is a conference championship to you as a high schooler, as opposed to apparently if the Steelers win the divisional championship, it just doesn't matter to anybody. So we're going to talk about that when we come back. But first, we're going to make you aware of some of our sponsors, like these ones right here. Back after this on the Ysn Power Hour.
High-res Futurecast shows steady snow for the next few hours.
Still just downright cold.
It is bitter out there.
Several strong bands of lake effect snow.
Wind is kind of the big story today as well.
So if you need a more detailed winter forecast on WFMJ.com and the Storm Tracker 21 app.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
And welcome back to the Ysn Power Hour. DJ with you, as well as Paul Munson, Ty Bartell. We've got Billy Mack and the legend himself, Mr. Scotty Mincher. Guys, before the break, we asked, do conference championships even matter? Do league championships even matter anymore? And we talk about some of these just scenarios that you're in. Heard one earlier today that made absolutely no sense at all. With one team winning. Having the better record through like the first half of the season, and now they're going to share possibly a title because it doesn't matter what happens in the second. I just don't understand it. I don't, either you have a conference championship or you don't, and if you don't,
exactly,
why not? Explain to me why you don't crown the team that has the best record overall, either through one matchup or two match. I mean, it's just. Conference championships to me, and I'll start this off, they're so important because it used to be not everybody made the playoffs, right? In football especially, your conference championship was so important because not everybody made the playoffs. It was something that you're fighting for. It was something that you could hang on your wall. If your team was not going to make the playoffs or maybe you weren't going to make a run in the playoffs, it was huge. I mean, especially as a kid from East Palestine, we wanted the TCL trophy. And then it turned into the ITCL, and now it's the EOAC. If you would have taken that away from us at that point, why play? What are you playing for? Just a record, right? You're not playing for a banner on the wall. You're not playing for a trophy with your name on it so you can come show your kids 20, 30 years later. How important is the conference championship? Paul, we'll start with you.
I think they're huge. I mean, and I agree with you because, we go into these gyms every single night. And when you walk into those gyms, there's banners hanging. In almost every school, there's some kind of banner hanging from a league championship from either 2 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. They're there, and it's a sense of pride. This year's was weird. It really was because of COVID. You in football, you didn't get to play everybody. Sometimes schools didn't get to play every single team in their league, so they said there's no league champs there. But in other sports, where they got to play everybody, they crowned league champs. Now, some leagues this year for basketball have come out and said, no matter what happens, we're not having a league champion because things can happen where a team goes down with COVID or whatever, and now you're not making them up. I mean, you look at, tonight, Hubbard's not playing Hickory. It's not a league game, but tomorrow they're supposed to play Hubbard or Poland. So you lose that game. They're not going to make it up. They already said they're not making that game up. So in this rare instance, I think, they can say, listen, we're not having league champs because it's not going to be fair to everybody that you didn't get to play everybody. So how does that
life's not fair.
So, well, I know life's not fair, but if you get one team that says, okay, we won 8 games in the league and another team's like, we barely got to play four league games, but we're undefeated too. So what's that mean? Are you going to have co-champs, one team with 8-0 and the other team's 4-0?
It means lace them up. That's what it means to me.
But if they don't have the time to finish the rest of those games this year, I agree. If you can guarantee yourself to get all the games in, then have a league champ. If not, then say, listen, just go out and play as many games as you can.
Paul, we talked about that. Like, this is what's frustrating to me is the OHSAA has opened it up like they did in football. Hey, you want to play basketball after? What?
But I did find out there's a it's not like football where they said you can play as many games as you can. They're still saying you're only allowed to play 22 games.
Well, that's fine, but play the teams you're supposed to play for a conference championship, right? Like, don't go schedule out a conference. Go unless you like. The only reason to do that would be getting seniors their time. If you have somebody that's in the 900s, or 950, I would say, to get them into the 1,000-point club before, because they probably would have at that point. But like, go finish your league schedule at that point, right? Unless you get knocked out by COVID again, but that's like a conference championship is important. Ty Bartell.
I agree.
I agree that it is important, but I'm kind of like, I am torn because I do like the matchups that we've seen that we don't normally see because teams are kind of confined with their conference. I'd like to see kind of a good balance to where you can see those conference matchups, but then also see those out of conference matchups. Like we saw Fitch play Steubenville in football this year, first time that's ever happened, and it turned out to be a really good game. And it's a game that I would love to see them schedule more often in the future. Maybe not every year, but you'd like to see that matchup more often. But of course, you can't go without your Fitch versus Boardmans, your Poland versus Canfields. You still need those interconference matchups. I also just wish that you would see them kind of, I don't know, these schools I would wish would showcase more of like the standings throughout the year, kind of hype up the fact that where you are standing in the conferences a little bit more. It seems like that kind of is like behind closed curtains now. We don't really know, like, when you go into Fitch, know where they're standing. When you go into Boardman, know where are we standing right now in the conferences right now against other teams. Where are we where's our placement and where are we at as far as coming away with a conference championship?
I think we're in a place right now where you've got to get like a rocket scientist to figure out who played who in order to have who. It's silly. I mean, it's silly. We should always, otherwise why be in a conference? If you're not going to play the teams that are in your conference, why are you in it? That's the idea, is you're guaranteeing yourselves X amount of games. Why? Like, if and I'm not saying the teams are running away from each other, but I mean, just if you're going to play it out, Billy.
Yeah, I'm torn between. I kind of like the idea of conferences with conference championships, but it's really just something, to win. I mean, what would you rather win, a conference championship or a district championship? I mean, I think we all know the answer to that. But you do have some teams. By the way, Ty, you do have some teams that run a different conferences because they're afraid to play teams, but different for somewhere else. But I think for me, I'd like to see a conference tournament in basketball, and it shouldn't even count against a regular season game. It should be a postseason event that the Ohio athletic greedy scumbags don't have. It should just be on the conference, and they should just tell OSHA and say, hey, listen, we're doing this, and we don't care. Period. Okay, we're going to give us 10 days so we can go ahead and make some type of conference championship like most states in the country do. They do this everywhere else but Ohio. They don't do this in Ohio. So this needs to be allowed, and this will settle almost all the debates. And it'd be like most schools, they have a season champion and a tournament champion, and it'd be something really cool to see, especially in our area.
So I guess this point, by B Irish 30 is right on. I mean, Struthers, there's nobody touching them. At least to this point. And you look at McDonald. Nobody has been able to get past McDonald yet. And Poland has the leg up in the NE8 right now for girls basketball. The EOAC is just chaos on the girls' side right now. I mean, you've got United, who's
three-way tie in the MVAC.
Yeah, you look at where we're at, and now more than ever, I firmly believe we need a conference champion. These kids have had everything taken away from them for the last year. And you're telling me that we can't figure out some sort of dialogue or understanding, I don't know, maybe a tournament that these teams play and a champion is crowned. Like, they've dreamt their entire life. You look at the East Palestine girls, for instance. They've looked at a blank wall their entire life where it says girls basketball. There's no stickers underneath. There's no plaques underneath that say we were a champion here. And those girls went through the entire middle school years together. They went through, now they're into their senior year. There's 4 seniors that dreamt of putting that up on the wall and bringing their kids back, years down the road and pointing at that and saying, we were the first to ever do it. And now you've got, they lose to United. United is building a great program over there. This is happening everywhere. But the solutions are not the same anywhere you go. And I think it's really, really interesting to see how the leaders are resolving this, right? And I'm not talking about the ADs. I'm talking about, okay, how do are championships important? That's what we're talking about. Scotty, huge Browns fan, hate the Steelers. Steelers win the division championship, but the Browns say it doesn't matter. Do you feel like a division or a conference or a league championship matters at the high school level?
I think it really does matter. Not so much when you get to the college or the pros, but I think it really matters on the high school level, especially in a year like this where we've gone through this pandemic thing for it's been just about a year now, and high schools, everything gets shuffled around so much. It doesn't go as smoothly as cash cow like the NFL, an industry like the NFL where they have just money out the wazoo and they can do the testing every single day. I think you have to have these conference championships, and I think there should be tournaments to decide winners because let's face it, man, a lot of these kids have good or really good high school careers, but most of them, they're going to be doing something else. Even the ones that make it to a certain level, it's highly unlikely they're going to make, a pro career out of it. So I always have seen it as something to take with you and cherish forever. You talked about the East Palestine. How special would it be if they had a banner with their names on it? I mean, that'd be something you just don't forget things like that. So.
I like what B. Irish said too about that, and that's what I was hinting, and I think that's the biggest thing if you want these kids to really start caring. I mean, I'm sure they already do, but if you get the communities involved to where they can see the standings when they come into these schools, the communities all of a sudden are getting hyped up and they see, oh, this big game, this one's coming into town. They're 2 games ahead of us in the standings. This would be a big win. I mean, getting that community involvement more into it, I think, would also help getting the kids even super hyper involved into, we should win this conference championship. Kind of bring that rivalry back by exploiting, here's where the standings are right now. This is a big game coming up for us.
I mean, at this point, does it even matter if you have co-champs? I've never been a fan of co-champs, but at this point, does it even matter that you have co-champions? I mean, let's say
you have 8 teams in a conference and you have co-champs. What?
Well, you can do that in a regular year, though, right? You split the series and each team goes. I don't even know what the number would be. What is that? 16-1, whatever that ends up being.
There should be never ever should there be a co-champ.
If it was an 8-team tier, you'd be 7-1. Both teams would be
7-1.
Yeah.
But if you play
13-1. Sorry, yeah. 13-1. 13-1.
So, I mean, we see that in a regular year. So why would we poo-poo the idea of co-champs in a pandemic year?
I don't like the idea of it either. I'm with Billy. I don't think there should be co-champs.
So then what do you do? other than a tournament.
Well,
you just say you're not having
have a tournament, baby.
What'd you say, Paul?
You're just saying there's no league champs this year.
No, that's stupid.
You can't do that though either. I mean, you got to have a league champ, but I mean,
no ties, no champs.
You're gonna say that, but there's gonna be a team out there that's gonna say, well, look at our record. We won more than we lost against the league teams.
You got to just
the best.
You have
they're just gonna self-proclaim themselves the champs. Which
then, if you're not gonna have a tournament, then here's the trick. You add all the points together. Team who scores the most, giving up the less of the margin is going to be the champion. That's how we're going to do it.
I mean, there's always in the pros they establish that if you tie here's the next level of who wins it. I mean, you're going to have to establish something like that. Whoever had the bigger point margin. I mean, you're going to have to figure something out to establish a single winner.
I've got
tiebreakers together.
What about if we put them in a ring? We put the coaches in a ring and they battle it out like rough and rowdy. But here's the trick: they have to wear their mascot uniforms. They have to wear their mascot.
So like college football. The mascot mashup.
Can't wait to see the Trojan guy come out.
There's some breaking news. Can we break that, Billy? You want to break that?
Well, is it gonna be true though?
Well, if we manifest it, it shall be true. Because neither side will be able to take it away. So, Billy, why don't you let that one loose?
Yeah. Oh, that's not me. No.
I'll break it out.
I'm gonna not on me. Not this time.
All right, if Coach Seidel wants to pop on real quick, I'll send him a link. He can pop on, and if he wants to come on and break the news, he's more than welcome to. Let me see if I can.
He's got to make that official.
Oh my gosh! All right, what about BMAC chiming in? Let's talk about this. What about just move a district/regional format instead of conference leagues? I don't know if I like that.
I don't know if I like that one either.
I mean,
I still like having the conferences, and I still like having
states do these. This is what I was talking about. Other states do it this way. They do it this way. But a lot of their conferences are in the district, so like they're the same size schools. So it's kind of like that old ITCL idea where instead of running a gauntlet of the district, you're basically that's a conference championship. So then they would advance. That would be the same as winning the district almost.
I don't get the same warm and fuzzies beating a team out of my conference as I unless you're playing towards a state championship.
But that's how it is. That's the process of other states. Is winning your district would be the same as winning your conference championship. You're basically playing the tournament, and it's a double-sided coin.
But knowing that most teams don't win the district, right? I mean, it's still a special thing. People don't just focus up on state championships. They go, okay, conference, district. What's the next one? Regional. Then it's a state. So, but
you're thinking of district as it is now. I'm talking about the district is basically those teams are all in the same conference.
But why can't you have both? Why you should be the
because you're basically doing the same thing twice. Then those teams would be playing the tournament all over again.
Listen, if I'm fighting for 2 belts or I'm fighting for 1, I'd rather have the 2 belts. Don't get me wrong, but I still want a shot at 1 belt. Is what I'm trying to say.
At least we're getting something.
I think we would have the same problems eventually. I think we would start getting, I don't know. It's frustrating. I want conference championships. I want conference tournaments. I want that because I want to see them play rules be damned when it comes to the regular season. You get the seeding off the regular season, then you go play a tournament for the strap. You play it for the title. That's how it needs to be done. How we have completely missed this for so many years, I don't know. There was a perfect opportunity. We have not had advanced ideas during this pandemic. And I understand that everybody's got a lot to do. I understand that everybody's just trying to get back to normalcy. But normalcy should include some things you arrive at during the pandemic, and that should be conference tournaments.
Listen, nothing's going to be normal going forward. So get it out of your system. Going forward, there's no going back to what we did before. So it's time for new ideas, fresh faces, and new people to step up and take control of things that need to be leaders. That's what we need to do all around this country. And just talking sports, some people need to go. And new faces need to come in and have fresh ideas and work better together to get where we need to go, because just copy pasting and going back to what we did 5 years ago is not going to work.
Not best for the kids. It's not best for the kids. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. Conference tournaments need to happen. It needs to happen. It can happen in every sport outside of football.
I mean, you could do the first half of the season too, and then second half be the conference tournament. Then cut out half the season and then just do a conference tournament from there. So you could go almost those half games of where you seed, or you can do a full season, just add more games with the tournament. Then
this whole thing is by the wayside. This whole problem is by the wayside. With we're gonna have a first half champion and then a second half champion, and then we'll go that route. Oh, look at this! Look who we got here. How we doing, buddy? Uh-oh. You there? Can you hear us?
Yeah. I heard him.
I heard him. All right. We'll catch up with the coach here in a little bit. While we have a second to go over it, I want to go over the YSN rundown for tonight, Wednesday, February 10th. And Anthony is going to Liberty to see them take on Champ. He's probably on his way right now because that game tips off at 5:30, it says. Springfield and Louisville. Paul, you'll have that game. Nice little dandy of a game you have. Western Reserve at Waterloo. Ty, you're in that seat. Ursuline and Bristol? Is that what it says, Paul?
Sure does.
Okay, it was cut off. Ian is going to have that game. We got Letonia and East Palestine. This is a big game in the EOAC because East Palestine rearranging their schedules to try to fight for a EOAC title, but they need to get past Letonia, and Letonia has not been kind to East Palestine, any team in East Palestine, over the recent years. So it'll be interesting to see this game. Derek has the call on that one. Struthers versus Poland. The school will be hooking us up. And see if we can get Coach Seidel back. Nope. We'll go to Hoppy is going to be at Jackson Milton, who coincidentally was there last night. So I apologize to Hop. He'll be doing the Jackson Milton versus Columbiana game. They have 2 quarters of JV, and then they'll get to the game about 6:15. I will be in Salem for the Salem West Branch game, and boy, am I excited for that one. YSN versus the world. We'll just leave it there. Poe and Larry will have Brookfield and Crestview. They're making the trip all the way out to Brookfield. We'll have boys basketball on the network tonight, as well as we try to get. Salem West Branch game, and boy, am I excited for that. I can't even mute him. YSN versus the world. We'll just leave it there. Poe and Larry will have. Coach, turn it down. I feel like we're on the radio. Turn your volume down. Boys basketball. Dom will have Niles versus Lakeview. McNuggies makes his triumphant return. Beaver Local versus Carrollton. Richie will have Mineral Ridge versus Hubbard. Heartland versus
Romo will be with him.
Will be with Richie?
Yeah, Romo said he's going to make the trip over to Middle Ridge and help him out.
All right. Then we have Heartland and Letonia. Mark will have that call. And Lisbon versus Valley. Rick will be taking the trip there. We also have some wrestling. Edison versus Indian Creek versus Cambridge versus Shadyside. And we will also have Austintown Fitch versus Beaver, it looks like, starting at 5 o'clock here on the network. So a lot of stuff here on YSN, and you know there's only one place to get it, and we appreciate you so much for getting it from us. It's ysnlive.com for an entire list of games. All you have to do, ysnlive.com/live. Go to our website and click on live games. That's it. You got clickable links. You can utilize the entire night, and again, it's all free right now. So enjoy it while you can, and then starting Saturday, 3 games. We'll kick off the playoff scenario, and $9.99 for the day. So buy them and enjoy them all. And then Wednesday, you get your money's worth for $9.99. You get we're going to shoot for 20 games. I don't know how many we're going to be able to get, but there's 20 games on the docket. Paul's going to have to work his magic between now and Wednesday. So we will see. But that's going to wrap up the show outside the G. Burby Farms filet and beef. We will start with Scotty for once. I guess you never get the first crack at it, Scotty, so we'll let you have the first cuts of beef.
Yeah, I guess I got beef and a filet. My beef is short, but it's just the fact that I have a beef for myself and just cerebral palsy, and the fact that I can't stop damn jumping, and I startle so damn easy and I have heart attacks. So I want to, again, thank the doctor for his malpractice during my birth back in 1988. Thanks, asshole. And for my filet, I just want to say that I'm loving these basketball games on the network. I'm going through kind of a withdrawal period in pro sports right now because the NFL season just ended. The Cavs, things look bleak right now. The Indians probably going to be their worst season in years. So I'm just loving these calls. And Ty with the phenomenal call last night. All these games I've seen Jackson Milton, I've seen Poland. So it's been great. So that's my filet.
Nice job, Scotty. Tip of the hat to you, buddy. Mac, what do you got? How do you follow that?
Follow that, Mac.
My beef is with autocorrect in my cell phone. I don't understand how my phone can know that I want to buy shoes or a hat or a cup or a computer or a laptop or the PlayStation 5 and throw me 1,000 different ads. But when I actually type the word, it changes the word to something else, drives me insane. And then I get, oh, look at this idiot. Doesn't even know how to text. No, the damn autocorrect keeps changing everything, so now I look like an asshole. It's stupid. Technology, not always better.
You just gave Jeff the ultimate excuse for why his crap is so
I don't care.
unintelligible when he sends
I'm talking about me.
Oh my God.
Sorry, Nick. Now we can't hear DJ now. Ty, I think you're up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna have a filet. Got to see just basketball games last 2 days. Got to witness what Todd Simon was able to do last night, the night before, what McDonald Logo put on. Just happy that I was able to witness there and be there for those kids and be able to have those calls. And I guess if I'm gonna have any type of beef, I'll just double up. You got me on board with that, Dr. Scotty. Screw that asshole.
Yeah, that was good. I guess I'm next here. So yeah, I'll introduce myself, do my filet or my beef. I've been torn because I know we're probably going to talk about my one beef tomorrow, probably with the NBA. It'll be something we can talk about tomorrow, I think.
Come on, sack up.
I guess that just leads into a little bit about like just complainers. I mean, people that complain about either doing their job or what they have to do. It's like, listen, just do your job. You have a job to do it. Quit complaining about it, making excuses. Just do it. It drives me nuts because you hear it all the time. Like, oh, well, they just whine about something. And it's like, then if you don't like your job, then quit it. Go do something else. Let somebody else do your job. And they won't complain about it. Sorry.
Paul, are you thinking about quitting?
Nope. Snack Shack is a very nice thing to do, and study hall is lovely. I love it. Never going to hear me complain. I'm helping everybody here. I was doing folders today, grading papers. I'm doing all kind of stuff. I'm an all-around guy over here.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Now we can hear.
Okay. I don't know why it just cut out. All right, so mine is going to be a filet. We are just rolling, and it's because of I say it all the time. It's because of you guys. It's because of the people at home, the people that love YSN. But we are literally taking the stones away from the universe one at a time. We've got 50 people on that wall in the back. We're adding more all the time. We've got some big announcements coming up. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for letting us have a little bit of the stones to be able to pass through the universe that is YSN. So thank you very much. Yeah, I got
over here.
Little prop.
We are inevitable.
So thank you very much for everybody. Yeah, that's right. We have the power. We have all of them. We have all the stones in the world. That's our next shirt. We have the stones. Tell me that wouldn't be awesome. So, all right, that's going to do it for, Carrie's got something for you. Paul will never quit study hall for the alternative actually going to work. Paul, is that true?
No.
You're like, no, once we get big enough, Paul's coming to YSN full time. And he's going to...
Right opportunity.
And he's going to sell snacks to us for $1.
That's right. That's right. Just hope you're not a freshman.
I got to talk to my union rep.
Paul's going to have one of those lemonade stands out front, right? For YSN selling snacks.
Be working out there.
Selling snacks to all the East Palestine riffraff. So, all right, that's going to do it for our show. Coach chiming in. Did I cause the show issues? I suck. We'll let the cat out of the bag. Jeff Bezos is going to throw on the Trojan uniform, the Trojan costume, and lead the Trojans out of the tunnel week 1 versus Letonia. So we will see how that goes. Jeff doesn't exactly have the greatest geography sense here on the panel, so we'll see how it goes. But we appreciate you tuning in for the YSN Power Hour, and we will see you tomorrow, 3 to 4, right here on the network.